Welcome to the Citadel at the end of time.
Come on.
Congratulations. Y'all had an awfully long journey to get here. He's impressed.
Who's impressed?
He who remains.
Hey everybody, welcome to Loki episode 6.
That's right, everybody, the season finale. Do we finally get to see the person behind the screen? Well, stick around because we're about to find out.
All right, Billy, this is it, the grand finale. What'd you think?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was definitely, it was Loki.
Sure was.
I was kind of hoping for a little more action. We didn't really get a lot of that. It was primarily a lot of dialogue this whole show, which, I guess coming into this, what did we say? We said we'd be happy if we at least got to see who was behind the curtain and kind of get some sort of direction. And we did get to see that, so I can't complain about that. But what I can complain about is just, it's a short episode. It was like 42 minutes. And the whole episode was pretty much Loki and Sylvie chatting with Kang, and it was just dialogue the whole time, right? I mean, you get the very beginning of the episode where it's kind of flashing through the different universe and stuff as it's showing the Marvel, and you can hear all the voices in the background from all the other Marvel movies and moments in history.
What is grief if not love persevering?
And then it shows Sylvie and Loki standing at the door. This door that's all cracked and stuff, right? And then they're like debating going inside, and then Kang opens the door for them, right? So
What do they call this guy? He Who Knows or something like that?
So Miss Minute shows up, right?
Yeah, it starts off with Miss Minutes.
Yeah, it starts out with Miss Minute showing up as soon as they walk in the door, and she kind of gives a little jump scare on them. And pops out of nowhere. And
Shows a little Fear Street.
That's right. Yeah. And so then she mentions him as being
He who remains.
That's
Oh,
right.
he
So
remains.
she
offers him a deal.
offers them a deal. Yeah. Tells
Pretty
them
sweet.
Yeah, tells them that he who remains is willing to give you a deal that he'll let you go be the rulers of the TVA and rule the timeline, right?
Well, they say you can go back
that's true.
and you can defeat Thanos and have the Infinity Stones with the gauntlet and the whole nine.
Yeah, and rule the world and the universe, or you can go to the TVA and do that. Yeah.
That's a pretty sweet offering.
Oh, yeah, really sweet offer. And it's kind of this whole time they've been talking about not having any free will, and it's kind of like he's giving them a choice there, right? So granted, I don't know if that's free will and not just giving you two options, but it's better than what they had before, right? So
That's kind of interesting too, because that's, all the Infinity Stones, the Gauntlet, and kind of like rule the universe. So what else could be in store if he turns it down? You wonder,
right? But one thing that's funny is though too is I'm sure at the same time he's thinking back to the TVA when the Infinity Stones were all just sitting in a drawer and they were worthless, right? So he already knows that really
just worthless in the TVA world,
right?
though.
But that shows that in reality the true power is the TVA, right? Because it's like all powerful. There's nothing more powerful than the TVA. So, which was obviously the second option he gave him, that, hey, you can go rule a TVA together. And that's the thing, too, he told him you can do it together, right? I'll send you both to the same timeline. We've never done this before, had two of anybody in the same timeline. But for you two, because you're so hot and special, I'll send you to the same timeline and let you run things. But, of course, they tell Miss Minutes to stuff it. And Kang, he who remains invites them in. And sure enough, we find out it's who we thought it was, and it's old Kang the Conqueror, right?
Well, we've had more characters in the same timeline in Endgame.
Yeah.
We had Captain fighting Captain.
We did, but it didn't last for long, though. It wasn't like that was, they kept it that way for eternity. He was offering them to stay together in the same timeline and just rule forever. Yeah. So, but so they finally, Kang makes his grand entrance, and of course he starts playing mind games with them. And
what did you think of the introduction to him?
I thought it was cool. I thought the way he came out was cool. I don't like the fact that, the outfit they had him in, I wish they'd have had him in one of his, conquering outfits,
I was hoping he'd be more stoic, but he was kind of goofy.
Yeah.
He was playing a goofy character,
yeah,
an eccentric character a
definitely
little bit.
Comedian kind of guy. Yeah.
And maybe, the only thing I could think, maybe they did this for a reason intentionally because they wanted to show a soft version of him before they get with
the hard
the
version.
serious, to show how stark difference they can be.
Yeah, when he describes what happened, he said, there was this Council of Kangs that were at first running all the multiverses together in harmony, And then they couldn't get along anymore because all of them wanted power, and they all fought, right? And then he was the one that came out on top, and only because he used the smoke dragon to kind of shut himself off and trap his timeline where the other ones can't get in there, right? I guess it's kind of how they explain it.
And we finally learn where Rick and Morty, what they ripped off.
That's right. That's right.
For the Council of Ricks and all that.
Yeah, exactly. It came Council of Kangs, man. Exactly. But so he explains that to them, like, look, if you kill me, he's like, you can choose the two options I gave you, that Miss Minutes gave you, or you can kill me, and then
he actually offers them to take his place.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, as the new timekeeper, I guess, right? As the new king, he does.
And then male Loki perks up a little bit.
Right. And then, of course, female Loki's like, no, I'm going to kill this guy. And then Kang's like, hey, can you actually trust him? So he's kind of pitting them against each other for a minute, right? And then they start fighting it out. And Kang's like, might as well have had a bag of popcorn back there because he's kind of enjoying this, just watching them battle it out. And then, of course, you have the little love scene where Sylvie kisses Loki and he thinks everything's going to be cool. And then she pushes him through the portal back into the TVA. And then it's just her and Kang, right?
Well, Kang also says before that, he's like, either way, whatever, I'll be back one way or another.
Yeah, he tells her flat out. He says, if you kill me, then there's gonna be another variant of me, and I'll be back.
And it's not gonna be a good version.
Yeah, and I'll see you. I'll see you as soon as you're back on the other side of the TVA. And of course, she pushes Loki out the door. Then it's her and Kang sitting there, and Kang again tells her, "Look, you guys can rule, or you can kill me." And of course, Sylvia takes option number 2 and jabs him in the heart with a knife, and he just looks at her and says, "Well, see you soon."
See you soon.
And then we flash to Loki. And Loki's back in the TVA. He's running up to B15 and Mobius, trying to tell them what's going on. Like, oh no, we just killed Kang. The timelines are going to split. Everything's going to go crazy because that's what the King told them what happened. He said, if you kill me, all the timelines are going to split, and all these conquering Kangs are going to come in here and try to take over. And so he's trying to explain this to Mobius and B15. And then Mobius looks at him. He's like, dude, who are you?
What division are you from?
What are you talking about?
Who are you? What's your name?
He's like, what are you talking about, Mobius? It's me, man. It's Loki. We did all this together. And then so Loki's like, hey, we got a situation here. And then B15's like, yeah, we got a situation. Sends the people in. And then it kind of, and then Loki looks over, and instead of the Timekeeper statues, what is it? It's a giant Kang the Conqueror statue, right? So evidently, Kang wasn't kidding. And, as soon as he died, there was another Kang in charge, right? But this one looks like it's going to be a much more mean Kang, right? The conquering Kang.
I mean, I was hoping to get a little bit better of a tease at the end of this. Yeah. I mean, that statue it looked like the goofy guy just...
With cooler outfit on.
Yeah, slightly cooler. But I was hoping to see the whole kind of like glass thing and everything. His helmet and showing him look like the Conqueror.
Right. Or one thing that would have been cool, you mentioned this earlier when you and I were talking about it, is if like... They should have showed more of the Kangs coming, right? They should have, showed some of them.
I would like to close like that. Maybe at the end credits where you see a ship or them heading towards something. Just a little bit of a tease.
Yeah, the closing was a little. It left you wanting. Left you wanting a lot more.
I felt a little unfulfilled. Just if they would have just added that aspect, I think that would have helped my mindset tremendously.
Yeah, because then you got a good view of really what this real danger is, right? Because right now, he's telling you what it is. You could be lying. That's what they even say to Kang. They're like, how do we know you're telling the truth? You could be lying to us. So you really don't know what this real danger is. It'd been cool if they'd given us at least a little glimpse of that, right? Before it's shut off.
So this isn't so much the grand finale that you get with action or anything like that, but it leaves you with some interesting thoughts as far as where they could take this whole thing in the future, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But I just have mixed feelings on this whole episode. Yeah. It was kind of shorter than I thought it would be and went by quick.
Yeah, it went by really quick. And there was really not much to it, but it went by quick, right? It was all just dialogue for the most part, but it went by pretty fast. And it definitely left you wanting more. I mean, it answered the questions. I said I'd be satisfied if it showed us who the behind the curtain was. It kind of gave us some understanding of what's going on, and it did. But they could have done a little bit better job with it, I think.
Yeah, and going back to Sylvie, what she either, I guess, was hell-bent on revenge or is just stupid, because Loki was like, I believe what he says. And as she's doing things, you could see the world kind of changing. So it didn't seem like he was bluffing.
Right. Well, the other thing, too, is when they first got there and they're talking with him, he's telling them, look, everything that's happened for you guys, they're like, oh, we found you, man. We did it on our own. He's like, really? He's like, everything that's happened, I scripted. And then he breaks out the book of like everything that went down, even the stuff they just said to him. He's like, no, I planned all of this. You guys are here because I wanted you here. Right. But he only had a plan for a certain time. And then once that time hit, he's like, all right, now I don't know what's going to happen, right? Now it's all up to you. See, he made it seem like he's giving them actual free will now, right? Now it's up to you guys. I don't know what's going to happen at this point because I stopped it right here. So now it's basically up to y'all, you know? So he basically looks like he's giving them free will when in reality, you know, he was probably just playing mind games with them. You know what I mean? I think he knew Sylvie was going to kill him, but in their minds, you know, they actually had the opportunity to have some free will here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. He also says you two are like the perfect people to take over for me, and I don't really buy into that too much.
Yeah,
like,
no.
what's the reasoning behind that?
Right, exactly. And he didn't really explain it either. So yeah, there was a lot of questions left unanswered here. I wish they'd done a little more with it, but am I satisfied since we know season 2 is coming out? Yeah, you know, at least we know we got more coming.
The most disappointing aspect is Mobius didn't get his jet ski.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Yeah. Where was the jet ski?
Heck? Like all this talk about a jet ski,
right?
And
like everybody thought Mobius was going to get his jet ski, right? I think by this point everybody thought, all right, episode 6, Mobius is going to be on a jet ski, and Disney, you let us down. Marvel, you let us down, man. Where was your
jet ski's going to have to wait?
Yeah, until season 2, I guess. Yeah, man, that was definitely.
They also showed some scenes with Renslayer in her former life. That was kind of interesting.
They cut back to that, showing that because actually B-15 went to that little area, you know, that part in time, and showed some of the other Minutemen that, so they would believe her. Now look, here's Renslayer. Here's who she really was. You know, she was a teacher, and that's where her pen came from. So she got the other, you know, some of the other Minutemen in on her side. Then of course I guess none of that matters because once
it got reset.
Yeah, once you kill Kang, everything gets reset, right? So in reality, there was almost no point to that scene at all, you know. But then one cool thing with Renslayer too, though. So when she's talking to Mobius, because Mobius of course comes in, and she's talking to Mobius. Mobius tries to prune her, and she takes away the scepter from him, and he was like, "Look, what's free? You don't agree with free will? You don't think free will is good?" And she was like, Mobius, there's only one person that has free will, and that's the person in charge. And then after they're done arguing and stuff, she's, fixing to leave. She brings up her little time door, and she's fixing to leave. And he's like, well, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to find free will. So it leads you to believe she's searching for Kang, right? So
Where are you going to go?
In search of free will.
yeah, so I don't know, man. Obviously there's even more to that storyline. And of course, in the comics, her and Kang are lovers, right? So either this is prior to that, or maybe she is going to find a version of him, and then they do become lovers, and
that's what I would suspect here.
Right, exactly.
So, what do you think about where they could take it? You excited for that? The possibilities there?
Yeah, man.
Is this the new Thanos we're talking about?
Oh, well, in the comics, this guy's supposed to be greater than Thanos, right? I mean, in reality, he's King the Conqueror.
In this universe, in these movies, is he going to be the next Thanos?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to be the next Thanos, the next big bad guy. Whereas it's funny because in this episode, they didn't portray him as a villain, right? They portrayed him as a guy.
Well, one version. I mean, he kind of
this
says,
version of him, right?
I'm holding the other ones at bay, so what I'm doing is for the greater good.
Right, and they were like, oh yeah, killing people and enslaving people are for the greater good. And he was like, oh yeah, hypocrites, how many people have both you killed? Look, you wanted to rule the world, so he kind of throws it right back at him like, listen, I'm doing what I had to do to keep the timeline from going crazy and to keep a freaking war from breaking out and destroying everything. So, he makes
it seem like he's the one and the only one holding it together.
Yeah, whereas the rest of them just want to, fight it out until one of them, finally conquers all, right? So, yeah, so they really didn't portray him as a villain. So they're really, when you think about it, it's like there really wasn't even a real villain in this whole season, because I'll
tell you the villain is Sylvie. Right. She jacked it up.
right. Well, then it goes back again to when Loki was talking to Mobius or Sylvie, in the first couple episodes. And he was like, well, nobody is really good or bad, right? People are just people, and this kind of stays with that mode, right? So I was like, all right. So I like how they stuck with that all the way through the end, to where even Kang was that way, right? Kang was just doing what he thought was right. At least that's the way they portray him. That he was just doing what he thought was right to keep the others at bay, to keep from basically the end of everything, right? So, but,
I'm kind of wondering what the MacGuffin's going to be in these new movies. Where I like that Thanos was after these Infinity Stones, so I'm wondering what Kang is kind of going to be after and what he pops up in search of.
Yeah, we know he pops up in Ant-Man 3, right? He's already been cast in that.
Yeah.
There's
possibly for Spider-Man.
Yeah, speculation is possibly for Spider-Man. Yeah,
they got some multiverse stuff going on there,
right?
Obviously,
and then Doctor Strange is called Multiverse of Madness. Maybe he'll pop up in that. So.
I'm thinking he might pop up in all these movies, maybe at the end credits or something like that, real quickly.
Right.
I'd be surprised if he's the main villain of any of these movies.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But there are multiple versions of him out there, so it's possible they can have one version of him be a villain, and then they bring on an even bigger one in the future.
Right, exactly.
Potentially.
Yeah, well, because he said there's infinite versions of him, right? He said there's an endless amount of me. So, well, then also, we kind of, it seems like that, there's potential that, or it looks like what's going to happen is the Scarlet Witch is going to be in the Multiverse of Madness, right? Because, the way that one ended, it showed her, kind of looking through almost different timelines, right? And she could hear her kids calling out to her. So I'm guessing that's going to play in the Multiverse of Madness as well. But yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, there's so much, the way they did these shows, there's so much different stuff they could do with them in the different movies. So, yeah. All
right, so let's rate this episode and tell me what your overall thoughts are of the whole series.
Yeah, man, I'm going to give this episode a 7. Because it was good, it wasn't great. I wish they'd given us a little more out of it, but it was a decent episode. The whole series. Well, first of all, before you say the whole series, what do you think about the episode?
Yeah, I think it's a 7 just because it was mainly just dialogue. Even though I like where they're taking it, I want to be teased more. I want to be shown something else to leave this. And but I like the concept.
Yeah. This was definitely my favorite so far out of the 3.
For sure.
Like
not even
3 Marvel
close
seasons
if
we've
you
seen.
ask me.
Yeah, no. And
they even though I wasn't entirely happy with the tease, I like it ended on a teaser where the other one's kind of just wrapped up, but this one does leave you wanting more and looking forward to what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah, and then
the other ones didn't really do that for me.
Right, and then the after credits, they give you that little stamp saying Loki will be back for season 2, and it's like, okay, so at least we know there's going to be season 2, right?
They confirmed.
So, yes, I mean, overall, I think I'm going to give this series an 8 because, I like how the storyline went along. I like how they played it out. I liked all the Easter eggs in it, and there's tons of stuff in the show that you can kind of just notice little things here and there.
Mobius and Loki better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh,
I'd rather have this buddy cop than that one.
Oh yeah, dude, way better. Falcon Winter Soldier didn't compare to this show at all, man. Yeah, I'm giving
even the
show,
characters level.
Yeah, absolutely. The acting, the dynamic. Oh yeah, man, big time. So yeah, definitely giving this one an 8. It was a very good show. I liked it. I'm definitely looking forward to season 2.
Yep, I mean I'm right there with you. So
awesome, man. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed this review. Hit like and subscribe if you like our channel. We'll check you in the next review.
See you guys.
11 o'clock at night and it's late.
No comments for you. You gotta like and subscribe, people. We need you.
Yeah.
Gotta get me out of your mind.